Hey, welcome back to Freedom Algo. So let's go through the trades today. It is a kind of a rangy day with a couple of strong trends that kind of broke later here. So you can kind of see if I zoom out here, we basically had this big wide range and there's some strong trends within it. And you had to play the tighter channels. There's a little bit of wider channels in play, but not that strong overall. And there's a couple of measured move attempts. So from this low up, this one didn't get reached. So you can see that one here. So we can delete that one. But from this high to this low, you did have this as a possible measured leg down on the whole thing, which is basically just looking at kind of like the size of the range. But from here down, we did reach that measured move. So you can see it did play out. You could also measure it from this high to this low and then off of here, and it gets you to the same place. So you can see that there. Anyway, let's get into the trades, wrap it up here. So let's see here. So I'm going to zoom way in, and you can see, and it is November 4th, so we've got the election coming up. There could be some weird stuff going on this week, so everybody be prepared for that. So coming in earlier, we had the range highs up here. There was a channel that played out, and there's kind of these short-term channels. The first trade of the day that I see is here. If you were here at 4:44 in the morning, which is pretty early, but if you were, there's a long here, and all that this is off of this. There's a first entry, second entry long, far away from the EMA. At the time, this was a basically working like a triple test. The reason it's green is because it's lower than these lows right here. If this was a little bit higher up and it was more of a triple test with like an equal low right there, then I think this would have been a blue. But because it's lower, it could just reverse on you. But it is a play out of this down channel, so I do like that one. All right, then coming over here, you have this high, and at this point, you were going to have a down channel possibly working. So from here, you have a first entry long that then closes right here and then does a second entry long that fails and goes down, and it's also a second entry short. So this is a second entry short that's also like a failed second entry long trap. So I like that one. I did take that trade. It's a little sideways right here, which is why I marked it green. All right, then coming over here, you've got this new low. First entry short, second entry short, pretty much perfect setup. You get a close outside the channel with a new high, and it's a second entry short, and it confirms this down channel that's working. So it's a little higher. At the time, you probably would have had this drawn more like this, a little bit like tighter. So it could also be that it's a break, but if it is a break, then you are expecting a new low. So it doesn't really matter either way. But I think what ended up happening was it was really just a little bit of a wider channel. And so that's a good one. It's right off of that close from Friday. So really nice spot. So I do like that one. Unfortunately, I was hoping that we would get a lower high here that would give us a nice setup, but the signal bar wasn't good. So you don't get a setup there. Comes down, makes a new low, and then you get a higher low right here. So this down channel is working. You do get a break. You don't get a new low, but you get an attempt. So right here, you get a first attempt lower. So first entry, second entry short that fails. So it's like a higher low that's also a failed second entry short. So I really like this one. You could tell it traps everybody who tried to get short right there, and it just ends up going for you. So that's a nice one. And then you've got this up channel working. You get a break. Now you're looking for a new high here, but there is a possible trap here. So someone asked me about this one earlier when I posted this chart. Basically, you have a new high. And what you have here is a kind of interesting setup because from this new high, there's a first entry long there, pulls back, and then it kind of goes sideways and it tries to go higher here. And this is a second entry long when this breaks up one tick. So this is actually a second entry long, but this immediately reverses. So if you put your stop order one tick below this bar, you would have let this fill you into a short and you would have got a real quick scalp. So you can kind of see here, let me measure this. So from that low to there, you got about 2.25 points. So basically you're getting in right there and you're trying to get basically like you need about 6 ticks or so. I was going for 6 ticks on a lot of these trades today. And it worked out perfect. You get your fill and then that's all you get. It's just a scalp. This is just a trap. So it's a second entry long. Everybody tried to get long here thinking that they were going to ride this up, but it ends up just reversing on them before it then does make the new high. So that's all that one is. Then comes up, it breaks out of this wider channel, and you do get a new high there. So then this is all played out. And because this is all played out, and you did come off the lows of the range, you're expecting the range high. So I would have had my measured move. It ends up not working though. It doesn't go to the measured move. It just turns into this tighter range for a little while. So in this range here, you get this trade. So you come down here and you've got a first entry short, second entry short that fails. This one's not perfect, but if you know what's going on here, you're still expecting a new high higher than this one. So it ends up being a really nice little trap. And then over here, you've got this down channel working, close outside, and you're looking for a new low here. And so you get it right here, and it plays out. But what you get is a really nice long that's just a triple test. So first test, second, third. It's really like a fourth test of this level. And it's right off of that Friday close that we've been bouncing off of from here. That's acting as support. Really bullish bar. So that was a really nice one. Easy trade. I didn't take a runner on that one, and the reason I didn't, so I ended up just taking I think 6 ticks on that, and then I closed my runner out at the same level at 6 ticks. I think that's how I played it. But anyway, I didn't take a runner on that because I was thinking here it's very possible that it comes up and you'd see that there was some congestion over here. So I was thinking it might come up and then actually try to make another leg down and test some of these lower levels to give us a true triple test. And it ended up not doing that. It ended up going up. So it was all good. Then you get a triple test here. So you've kind of got 1, 2, 3, triple test, bearish bar, pretty easy short there. It's also kind of like a hidden second entry short. So really nice. It goes down. You'd end up not coming down to the bottom of the channel. You do come up and get another bearish bar. It's kind of like that triple, quadruple test at this point. The signal bar is just not perfect, so I didn't love that. And it would have worked, but it just wasn't really a great setup. This is a double bottom, so it's kind of like a first entry short. It's just not that great, but it does work, and the range does play out there. Then turns into this really strong downtrend. And this is one of those downtrends where if you get a really good signal bar, you can just take a short. So right here, you get one. You'd probably have to put your stop loss above this bar over here on the actual swing, but that's a pretty easy one. Now, you could also just put it right above this, but it's only 5 ticks if you want to take some risk there. And that ends up being a really nice one. Then it comes up. You get a close outside of this channel. And this is almost like a hidden second entry short, but it basically goes up here and then reverses, gives you this big bearish bar. I wouldn't enter this on the engulfing bar. I'd say you wait for this to close. And so you are going into the lows, and you got to be careful with that. But I was expecting it to at least come down to this range low, which it did really easily. Then it comes down, and not much here. It kind of just gets a little bit, there's a possible, at the time I was thinking there was like a possible channel that maybe got flatter, but it just doesn't fit any real way. So it just kind of gets choppy. So I stayed out of all this right here, just consolidating. You got your measured move. So it's kind of trying to figure out if it's going to go lower. Finally, you get a double bottom, and then it comes up and gives you a first entry, second entry, hidden. It's a hidden second entry short that fails. So this is like a trap. Basically, it's not going lower anywhere. But on a smaller time frame, this would be like a failed second entry short. So on this one, you could go 1 tick above this bar. You could just have your order ready, and it would fill you, and just you get a runner on that one. So that's a nice one. It then comes up. You got this channel break, and this is only a first entry long. So it looks questionable. You don't want to necessarily take a first entry long, but I like this trade because what it actually is, if you look at this double bottom, it's a true first entry, second entry short failure with a really bullish bar. Close outside of this channel. You're looking for a new high. Easy trade right there. You don't get a runner necessarily, but you could close out your trade up here, and it's kind of like a runner. And now it's actually just going a little bit higher. So it's hard to say. We might have some sort of a possible spike in channel here. There might be something like this going on. Hard to say for sure how this is going to play out. But we're really just looking for these levels again. You can tell the middle of the channels here. And that was another thing. You could kind of see this all as like a failed breakout down here of the range. from these levels, and now we've come back in, and it kind of like the volume dried up as it got low. And the other thing to consider is on the daily chart, this was a really key level. And we bounced right off this level that I've had drawn on this daily. We've bounced there so many times. So you were expecting when we hit that we'd probably rally a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if we rally all the way up towards the highs or somewhere back into this middle of the range and get stuck around there. But anyway, I'm done for the day, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.